We claim to be the protectors, but are we the very reason they're afraid? This is the Raising Carter podcast. I am your host, Ramon Weatherall. I'm not flying solo. I don't have my son Carter, but I got my brother Speak Rock with me because we're talking about something that it's a little bit above the, or the pay grade of Carter. So this is some grown man stuff right here. Why do women fear men? The necessary conversation men need to have. Because this is a necessary conversation we need to have because of really one video that kicked it off. One video that kicked it off, and a lot of people did videos about it. And I say, well, if they can do it, we can do it too. I got the brother that we can do that. I can do this with right here. So, and I want to give credit to the creator. It's the first video is the Grits and Egg podcast, the Grits and Egg podcast. Dante Cowell, his podcast is. I mean, I like his content. I like a lot of his stuff. So we gonna check out this video first that really started the conversation. That started the conversation. I think the conversation started with the whole Diddy trial, but that's something else. That's something else. But this kind of started another conversation. So check this out.
Like, okay, Diddy and Tory, right?
Right.
Anytime stuff like that happen, they say, oh, it's a war on black men. When their dirty deeds catch up to them, they say it's a war on black men. But the part that confuses me is that this war is not being waged by black women. But that's the way it's set up. The way that they would have it, have you perceive it, is that this war on black men is waged by black women.
And it's not.
It's not. But the war on black men has always been raised by the white society. White women seeing our sexual prowess, but using it like Carol Bryant did to be able to get us killed.
Yeah.
Mass incarceration, school to prison pipeline, black women don't have anything to do with that. They actually suffer under the same conditions. Now, I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
You getting ready to go out, getting dressed, you and the homies, couple pre-games,
right?
Get in the car, y'all finna hit the spot.
Okay.
Has it ever crossed your mind like, man, I hope these bitches don't ruin the night?
No.
Never.
Ever.
It's never crossed your mind that a woman could ruin your night. Ever. If anything, hopefully I can bag me a woman and advance the night.
Right.
Enhance the night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Women, whether they're going to the grocery store, going to class, going to the club, the thought has to always be in the back of their mind that a nigga will ruin their night. If they turn a nigga down, violence could ensue.
Right.
Physical violence or verbal assault. Right? Nigga, first thing a nigga gonna do, stupid, ugly bitch.
Yeah.
You ain't that fine anyway.
But you tried to holler.
Yeah. And we have to acknowledge the privileges that we have as a man, that we don't have to worry about like sexual harassment. Unfortunately, rape, like those aren't things we think about. Women go to the club. You ain't nobody trying to roofie you, nigga.
Yeah.
And take advantage of you. If you go in the club right now and it was me and you, let's say me and you, we go to the club. We walk in that bitch, nothing but women.
Right.
We're gonna be like, shit.
Let's do it.
Hey,
Let's do it.
Hey.
It's a good night.
First of all, is this for the public?
Yeah. How we get here?
How do we get this lucky?
Yeah.
It's nothing but women here? If a woman and her homegirl walk in the club is nothing but men, that's a dangerous situation.
That's video number one. I think we should just go into video number 2 right away so we can just get it out of the way and we can just do. So I'm going to introduce video number 2.
You may not harass women. You may know how to take rejection. The majority of men that most women deal with do not.
Yeah.
And you are accountable for that as well.
So I learned something in a project management course, not really a course, but seminar I took not too long ago, is that when you work on projects for improvement, you work on something called an 80-20 rule. And you work on your process improvement based on the 80% of the people you deal with and not the 20% of the outliers, right? So if I want to improve something, I'm looking at the majority of what I deal with and not the outliers. And what he's saying, I hear what he's saying. to an extent. I think that I'm gonna call it the problem black man, the aggressive black man, the black man that don't know how to deal with rejection and things like that. I don't think that is the overall majority of black men.
No, but they definitely exist.
Absolutely, wholeheartedly, hands down. And just like we talked about in that that process improvement meeting, at some point we will have to address the 20% that we have to deal with because it is a problem, right? We have to come up with a process improvement for that 20%, but we cannot dump what the 20% does off on the 80%. If 80% of the men that you come into contact with are horrible human beings, you got to start asking yourself, what is the environment that I'm in? You got to start looking at your environment, because I'm here to tell you 80% of the men that I come into contact with are not horrible human beings. They just aren't.
Unless they're this way behind closed doors.
Very
and
possible. But that's not what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about being out in public, out in open spaces, and being cackled and harassed and taunted and mistreated by black men. I'm out all the time. I don't run into this. I don't see this. I smile at a black man. He smiles back. I say, good morning. How's your day going? He say, good morning, beautiful. It's wonderful. They smile. You want to know why? I had one tell me, you know what? You're the first black woman I've seen all week that spoke with me with a smile. We are a part of the problem. Let's just be clear. We want to dump it all off on black men, but we also have to ask ourselves, are we causing a part of this? Y'all finna be real mad in these comments.
Clean it up now.
Are we causing part of this because we're treating everyone the same? Because a black man comes to you and says, hey, how you doing? And you immediately have an attitude. You immediately think that he's trying to talk to you. You immediately think that he wants something from you when he could very well just be saying, good morning. It's becoming almost a tit for tat. Black women are attacking men before they have a chance to say something nice, and black men are on the defensive and saying ugly things to black women because y'all all the same. You gonna come at me with an attitude, so I might as well come at you reckless. We gotta stop. It's okay just to say hi. It's okay to speak and not want anything further. It's okay for somebody to buy you a cup of coffee just because you were standing in line at Starbucks and they happen to be behind you, without expecting something more. We got to stop just dropping this blanket on everybody and thinking everything is something bad. And we got to stop because I have a bad attitude because my day is going bad. F you. I don't want to talk to you. Why are we pushing our bad energy, our negative feelings, our hostility off on other people? They didn't do anything to you. You mad at the wrong person. We on both sides, men are creating women who are mad, angry, and bitter, and women are creating men that are mad, angry, and bitter. And then we're looking across the line at each other, mad, angry, and bitter with each other. And it's unfair and it's detrimental. And we are pushing this off on our kids, on the generations coming after us.
Right. Because they're seeing all this.
We got to make it better.
Yeah.
We've got to stop just pushing this off. I treat everyone the same. If you see me walking down the hallway, I got that rest in peace face. That it exists. I'm sorry. I'm not a mean person though. If you speak to me, I'm gonna speak back. If you walk by, you look sad, I'm probably gonna say, hey, good morning. How you doing? I was driving down the street the other day on my way to work, minding my business, resting face, and the construction worker waved at me. And I rolled down the window and smiled. And he said, well, dog, I thought you was having a bad morning. No, sir, I wasn't. I was just contemplating. I didn't want to go to this job this morning, but I'm fine. Good morning. How are you? And we had a nice, calm conversation as I waited for the flag man to wave me on by. There's a misconception. There's miscommunication that's happening. You feel like you looking at somebody and they look mad. And as a man, the first thing they want to say is, you too pretty for that mad face.
Smile. And it's taking it an insult.
Smile. Or just say, you know what? Today's not a great day. You don't have to go off and get mad and get angry and start yelling and cutting up. They really are just trying to brighten your day sometimes. Now, I will not sit here and pretend that some of them are not.
Right.
That some of them really are out to make your life and your day even worse. They exist. They do. But sometimes what's happening is each party is feeding off of the other. Neither one of y'all intended to start out in a quarrel, in a argument. That wasn't the initial intent.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what happened because we were feeding off of our perceived impression of the other person.
There we go. We got the two videos, two. And that I want to give credit to the podcast. It's the BTTS podcast. That's the podcast. I seen it on TikTok, and man, they got some good content. She's very, very well spoken. Yeah, so I'm definitely a fan. So, but what do you think, Speak Rock? There's a lot to unpack there. You got the Grits and Egg podcast, you got the BTTS podcast, what they said, and now we got the Raising Carter podcast with the special guest Speak Rock. So we gonna speak on it the way we do. Just man, it's a lot. I don't even know where to start.
Let me ask you this: what caught your attention first? What is it when you first, especially in the first video,
Right.
when you heard it, like what made you say, "Let me go back and listen to what was said"? Like, okay, where are we going?
But
with
I
this?
seen that. I seen videos saying that what he said, what Dante Kyle said he was wrong. They're saying he's pandering, that he's doing this for women's attention. He's trying to, and I don't really think he is. I don't think he's pandering. I don't, you know what I'm saying? I think she made some good points too. She made some good points in, too, that, but I don't, so that's what made me really see, okay, like what did he say? What did he say so that you can say that he's pandering? And one of my first talking points is, it's not about individual blame, it's about collective impact. Instead of immediately feeling defensive or thinking not all men, consider the overall impact of male behavior, women's sense of safety. So most people, I think the people who say he's pandering, they like to say, well, it's not all men who do that. Yeah, it's true, but it's enough of them. It's enough of them. It's enough of them, and it's not just black men. It's white men who do it to white women too. It's all men, but since we are black, and that's who I feel like I can talk about. Yeah, and so when you first saw the video, when I sent it to you and you said, okay, let me check out what he got. What did you think?
And I'll start it off just like, you. I mean, look, we're content creators. We're people who believe, that our voice holds power, and we choose to speak, and we choose to give solutions and give ideas, and we believe by sharing that we're making the world a better place. So salute to that brother. I'm not very familiar with his platform. Hey, look, if you go on social media, you're going to see some things. And, I've seen it. I'm not a subscriber, right. Hey, I mean, all I can say is salute to him in content creation, because he's probably saying a lot of great things. One thing I know about being a content creator, a public speaker, a minister, anybody if you're putting yourself out there and you have a microphone and a camera, more often than not, you're going to say something that somebody don't like. That's just the way it is. There's been a lot of people that have had to backtrack throughout the years. Well-known people. I'll give you two: Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X both backtrack on some things that they said previously to the media. One of the most famous things, I give you Martin Luther King. He said to a news reporter, he said, "I'm afraid that I've integrated my people into a burning house." whoa, what? Why am I saying all of that? It can happen to the best of us. That sometimes you'll get to feeling yourself,
Right.
you'll get to getting into your flow, your juice. Go ahead.
He backtracked, but
Okay.
he wasn't wrong. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I feel like he backtracked, but if he would have said that today, I would
And
have
you say
been.
who?
He wasn't wrong.
He who?
What he said wasn't wrong.
Okay.
Martin Luther King. I just want to. I had to, what he said wasn't wrong, but I understand why he backtracked. I understand why especially back then, especially back then. But what he said wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? But and I think what the brother said wasn't wrong, but he's getting some flack over. But just like you said, you got this microphone in your face, you get to feeling yourself, you gonna say what's on your heart, you know what I mean, and in
No,
your mind. So
absolutely.
no, but
Absolutely.
continue,
Yeah,
please
well,
continue.
so again, it can happen to anyone. If you speak often, look, you whatever it is that you feel like you believe, you're just gonna go out and say it. Now, I will also say this. Let's be clear about social media. Okay. One thing about social media, nobody said it better than Charleston White. Charleston White tells you to your face, and you don't know which Charleston White you gonna get. Charleston White will tell you, I straight up say stuff for shock value. And the reason why I do that, that's not a new practice
Right.
that only he created. There's been shock jocks on the radio, as long as I can remember. Absolutely.
Howard Stern.
The point is, Charleston said, because when I was out here advocating, when I was out here, in the community, when I was out here with a low cut, going to courthouses and doing such and such, nobody listened to me. So therefore, Charleston said, I have to create a persona. I have to be able to shock people's attention for them to finally listen. So Charleston exercised that type of practice on a regular. So what am I saying? What's this gentleman's names again? Dante? Dante.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Grits and Eggs.
I think it's Deontay.
So,
yeah,
Mr. Grits and Eggs.
Yep.
Here's the thing. We can't judge his intent because we don't know this man's heart. We don't know him. So here's the deal. I don't know what angle he's coming at. So I have to assume what he's saying, he may not even mean. He could possibly just be saying some things to get a rise out of people to get views. Because let's be honest, the name of the game is to attract people to our platform. Everybody is not of honest heart to say, through hard work, blood, sweat, equity, truth, I'm just going to always generate views and likes because people believe in what I'm saying. Man, if that's the case, the Raising Carter podcast you would surpass Joe Budden if just your honest content was what people really wanted, right? Because the content that you're putting out is beautiful.
Right. I agree.
It's impactful and you mean it and it's sincere. So if that's the case, if that's what people want, you would have been surpassed Joe Budden a long time ago. But the fact of the matter is, sometimes that's not what people want a lot of times. They want some drama. They want it to be mixed up. They want some, like, what did he say? So my point is, I'm saying again, I don't know the intent of Mr. Kyle. I don't know. He may believe it. He may not believe it. So that's number one. Number two, when I first saw the video, I was like, well, it's problematic for me, because let's be clear about what we're talking about. For me, I'm a very specific-paced person at my ripe old age. I have to hear specifics. I'm not 20 years old no more. I'm 52. So I have to, it's time to be specific and clear. So when you start talking about Diddy and whoever else, talking about black men, then you want to talk about men. I'm like, okay, which one is it? Is it black men or men? So if you want to talk about black men being harmful to women, let's talk about that. If you want to talk about men being harmful to women, let's talk about that. Either one, but let's be specific. But because my thing is, don't put all of what a man would do to women just on black men. That we got it hard. It's hard enough for us out here to take on the whole weight of what men throughout history have done to women. Let's not do that. Be specific. What men are you talking about? And what black men are you talking about? So let's talk about them. And here's the second thing that was confusing about what he was saying. And I understand certain vernacular. I understand certain choice words within the black community. If we want to refer to somebody, please excuse me for anybody with my language. If you want to, if in your description and you're saying you and your partner about to go out to the club and you talking about some, yo, we about to run into some bitches. All right, well, that's problematic in and of itself. I'm just saying, if you talking about doing right by women, but then you referring to them as bitches, come on, bro. Then you talking about these bitches who might meet you and they talking about some, here go these niggas. Like, I guess all I'm saying, it goes back to what the young lady was saying. What environment are you in? If you going around bitches and niggas,
right?
What good did you expect to come out of that? Like, help me out. See, so now you're confusing, or you're mixing up these different subcultures: bitches and niggas, men and women. They don't mix. A man and a woman crowd don't mix with bitches and niggas. So I'm very confused on what it is that he's trying to say. Like, be clear, sir. I should not have to assume what you're saying, because it's mixed, it's convoluted, it's a bunch of gibberish. It's a bunch of, and I guess he like, look, if you don't know what I'm saying, those who know, and this, that, and the third. Look, man, I mean, so for a person like me, because I heard him say something like, just because you a decent dude and that's not what you do, that doesn't take away what black women suffer at the hands of black men. And I'm like, okay, now I can see why people think it's pandering, because you're trying to make a point for men and women, but you're using the relationship between black men and black women as your talking point. And then the thing that did it for me, and I was like, okay, I'm not agreeing with what he's saying. Just because some truth is mixed in there somewhere, your overall premise is way off. When he mixed the relationship of black men and black women in reference to the relationship of black people and white people, I said, okay, now I'm done. I can't. You can't say just the way black women are afraid of black men is how black people are afraid of white people. Those are such broad strokes and talking point. There was no validity, and it was damaging. So whatever good he felt he was doing, all he did, to me, you took a little bit of truth, you expounded upon it, broad stroked it, got people in an uproar. And because I'm gonna assume the brother is smarter. I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong for this, I believe the brother's intelligent. I truly believe the brother knows what he's saying and he knows what he's doing. And because I believe that, I also believe that he understands the damaging effect that his words is having on black men. And guess what else? On young black boys. So I just felt like his messaging was packaged wrong. He wasn't precise. He wasn't clear. And it leads to confusion. So yeah, and again, I'll say this and I'll get off of it. I've always said, and I think I share it with you and I share it with many other people, I always say to people, I don't want to just be right in my own head. That's a very that's a bad place to be, where I don't have, because when I look at his platform, I don't know if that's his producer offline, somebody working the soundboard, whatever the case may be. He's speaking and my man just being an amen corner. He like, yeah, all right. So when you got a mic in front of you and you just got somebody constantly just amen or whatever you say, oh my God, that's a lot of times that's not the best place to be. So what say you?
It is a little bit all over the place, because he starts off with the Diddy and the Tory Lanez thing, and it's like, we don't know what the hell happened with those situations. Like, we don't know we don't know nothing about that stuff. So you can't, like you said, you can't put the two things together, like them and me, you and my son and this person's son and this. You can't do that, bro. Like you can't do that. But I think what the sister said is really impactful, because she's saying, I don't feel that way. I'm a woman, and what you're talking about, I don't necessarily feel that way. I think that's more damaging and real than anything, because I really wanted to show this to, my daughter or my wife, and think I know what he's saying has some truth to it. You and I both know that women, they, and one, cause like they say, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. So yeah, it might be 80 guys, 80% of men who don't do this, but all it takes is one man to do something that's out of order that's gonna stick in a woman's mind. So that part is true, but the sister said it. She was like, I don't necessarily feel that way everywhere I go. So what he's saying, you made a great point. He knows what he's doing. He almost has 500,000 TikTok followers. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. And that's what we have to understand as people. I heard this in a book that I'm reading. They said, when you're getting advice, especially financial advice or advice, period, everybody's selling something. Everybody is. Everybody's selling something. What is he selling? What am I selling? But we got to ask, what is that person selling? He's selling his content. And like you said, like you said, the whole Charleston White thing, if I don't say something that's gonna shock people, that's gonna make people say, what did he say? Let me watch that again. Oh, he's pandering, he's this and that. So, hey, brother, if you see this, you can take it, take it like a man. It's the truth. We all know you're selling something. I'm selling something. Stephen A is selling something. Shannon Sharp is selling something. Officer Tatum is selling something. Everybody's selling something. What are you selling? And that's what the people need to understand. That's what the Raising Carter, the people that are listening, what is this person that you're putting so much influence, so much attention into? What are they selling? What are they selling? So let's talk about the second video. Let's talk about the sister, her video. Let's talk about her video because I think her video was really good, and it was really. I'm glad we got an opinion woman from a black woman. I'm glad we got.
Let me say this before we move to the second video because I can help segue into the second video because as you speak about the young lady, because it's perspective. Mr. Kyle gave his perspective on what he has experienced and what he has seen, right? You know, he talking about going to the club. You know, hey, if me and you going out to the club, this is what we'll see. If we go to a club with a bunch of women, it's just me, you know, him and his mans, you know, what's gonna happen to us? He said something to the effect of, when you know men go out to the club, they don't have to worry about, you know, being sexually assaulted and so forth, or taken advantage of, or whatever the case may be. I'm paraphrasing what he said. And again, I would beg to differ because he's given his perception. He just hasn't run into anybody that has a story where that's a man who was drugged in a club by a female. He hasn't. I mean, what interviews has he done with some man who said, you know what? Yeah, I was taken advantage of. I thought I was gonna link up with a chick. I went to a place. Next thing you know, some goons to come bust in and they done rob me. And I'm outside butt naked, gotta walk home. See, so I'm just saying we can't act like those things don't happen. Men get taken advantage of. He just hasn't experienced it, or he hasn't seen it. So how you think men who got set up by a female, how you think they feel listening to Mr. Kyle? They like, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. See, so you're giving a limited perspective and you're making it seem as if it's everything. So to segue into the young lady that who just spoke, and you're right. She, in such a beautiful way, she said what she said. She was honest and forthcoming. She gave her viewpoints about, hey, look, that's not my world. That's not what I see. And when I do encounter men, guess what? And she gave an example of what she experienced with the construction worker. So, I mean, so what were your thoughts when you heard her give her perspective about how she engages men on a daily basis?
I think it was awesome. And I think it was really true because a lot of times, not all men, when we see a nice lady or we see if I see a black lady, a sister, I could be like, oh, that could be my cousin. That could be my sister, and if she says hello to me, that makes my day. If she's, that makes my day, when you go somewhere that's unfamiliar and you might be at the hospital and you get a black nurse that's nice to you, we need that too. Men need that too. It's not always we're out here looking to harass a woman or come on to her. So what she's saying is true. Or you go to a nice restaurant and you got a nice sister that's your waitress. Man, that make you feel good. That makes you feel good. So I don't see that either, but I do want to say this. I don't know if this goes along with this, but this is true. I heard somebody say this. A beautiful woman is dangerous. She's dangerous because she's beautiful. And when you out with a beautiful woman, and this might have happened to you, there will be other men who will try to disrespect you just because that woman is attractive. They might, in their warped mind, this don't happen every day, but this can happen, and this will happen, and this does happen, that they'll feel like, what's she doing with him? What's she doing with that? What's she doing with that nigga? Oh, he's soft. He this and that. And that, sometimes we're our worst enemy. We're our worst enemy. So being with and she might not have any intentions of being with another man or nothing. It's just that she's beautiful. It's just that she's attractive. It's just that she has a nice, shape or whatever. And other men who I don't know are not that intelligent or just on some dumb shit, they feel like, well, because I would love to be with her, I'm gonna try to, I'm gonna try to push up on her. I'm gonna disrespect this dude. And this is true. This is true for all men that's listening to this. Okay, when you have a beautiful woman, an attractive woman, you ain't got no friends. You don't got no friends. You might think you have friends, but you don't have any friends because any one of them, if you go to jail, break up with her, move, whatever, might love to be with her. That's one thing. That's one thing men need to understand. You don't have no friends when it comes to a beautiful woman, and other men just might try to test you because she's beautiful. That don't have nothing to do with her. That don't have nothing to do with her. But this is what you have to understand. This is what you have to understand. So I just had to say that. You don't have any friends when it comes to a beautiful woman. You don't. You do not. And because she's beautiful, you just might have to defend yourself. That's the truth, bro. That's the truth. So all women don't see us like this. And that you asked me how did that make me feel? That made me feel good. His video kind of made me feel funny, like kind of made me feel, I don't know. It didn't give me a good feeling. But her video, it made me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
If I seen her somewhere, I would like to say hello to her. You know, and I think men,
Mm-hmm.
good black men, we like for a nice lady to say hello to us. We like that. We like that. I just want to add this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of when I leave work, there's a lot of workers, shop workers. We're all leaving out together, 20, 30. It's a bunch of guys. And then the building, the company I work for, there's the shop floor, and then of course they have the office people. A lot of times the office people coming in, and a lot of times those are ladies. Those are ladies. The ladies are coming. They're coming in to work. And I have a friend, he's an older, white gentleman. He might speak to the ladies, and sometimes the ladies don't speak back to him. And he gets upset. He's like, oh, they don't even speak to us. They don't even speak to me, this and that. And, it's because first of all, they don't have to speak to you. They don't, what I mean? It's rude. It's not being nice, but they don't have to speak to you. But I think a lot of men, we don't take, he said one thing that was true. We don't take rejection well, and we don't take when a woman is just being nice to you. If you haven't had a lot of contact with women, if you think because it's just a woman's just being nice, she likes you. That happens sometimes. I'm not a woman, and I think a lot of times they just like, you know what? To not deal with that, I just won't speak at all. So this is a podcast for men. So we need to, let's keep it real, fellas. I told you, I gave you some real before. I'm giving you some more real.
But let me interject this please. Here is where I need the clarity in the specifics from Mr. Kyle. So if he's going to speak on a matter like this, I would like for him to have the separation. Like, don't use black people as an example of explaining what's wrong with manhood. Yeah. Like, I guess he's black. I'm gonna assume. I don't know. He's a very light-skinned individual. He could be a light-skinned black man. He could be biracial. I don't know. I'm being serious. I'm not even trying to be funny or facetious. Again, if I just see somebody on a computer screen, I don't know nothing about this gentleman. So I'm just being very clear. So if you're gonna speak on black issues, I gotta vet the situation. Like, are you black, man? Like, is he biracial? Because again, if he come up with in a biracial household, I don't know what he's been taught. So sometimes people who just not have come in a totally black environment, you start speaking from other perspectives. So again, I don't know. I don't know that to be true. I'm not even claiming that he's biracial. I don't know. He's probably a light-skinned brother. I don't know. But here's the deal. When you keep highlighting on black men to speak on problems with manhood, that's problematic in and of itself. And I'll tell you why. So if he wants to address men across the board, and I shared this with you, speak on men across the board then. Because I'm pretty sure, I'm willing to put money on it, that there's women in the Middle East, there's women in Asia, there's women that's on a Amish or compound somewhere that's saying, hey, Mr. Kyle, please speak on the men in my community, in my culture, because it's a gazillion degrees Fahrenheit here in the Middle East, and I got on nothing but black, and all you can see is my eyeballs. I am burning up. Oh, and by the way, I bet not even be seen caught reading a book. By the way, I bet not even be seen caught teaching some young kids. Or I'm liable to get beheaded. I bet not even act like I'm gonna walk side by side with my man. So I'm just saying, Mr. Kyle, if we're gonna speak on how men treat women, speak on it across the board. Why Asian women gotta be pretty much, if you go to an Asian household, Asian men, the hierarchy over women, talk to some Asian people, they'll let you know. Asian men don't take that from their women like that. What the man says goes in his household. Ask their children, they'll let you know. So you don't think that Asian woman wants to let you, hey, look, we want some of these equal rights. We want to be just as outgoing and as westernized women. So if he's gonna speak on how men treat women, speak on it across the board. Why do all Amish women wear the same outfit and got the same makeup and the same hairdo? Why? Are they not individuals? So what has been programmed into them to make them all look the same? So if right is right and wrong is wrong, why only black people got to be used as an example about the relationships between black men and black women? So help me out. So stop talking about all men if it ain't about all men then. Talk about only black men and black women. That is why when the sister, when she gave her comments in the second video that she showed, all she could speak about was her reality of black men and black women. She like, that's not my reality. That's not what I experience. That's not what I go through. So this broad paintbrush stroke that you just used for all men, but to use black men as an example, she's like, that's not my reality. So again, he spoke truth. Yes, men and black men don't take some black men don't take rejection well. I get it. And I say this, I have a saying. When you make a sandwich, you don't take the sandwich, pick it up, and just start eating from the middle of the sandwich. Nobody does that. If you do that, I don't know what to say about you. Most people either cut the crust off, either most people cut it diagonally, or they just pick up the whole sandwich and they eat it from one end to the next. Right? Nobody just start digging in the middle of the sandwich. So my whole point is, I don't care what subject matter that we're talking about. It has a beginning. There are beginning issues. There are things that happened a while ago that need to be addressed. Then let's work our way through and come up with solutions. But we just can't pop out of nowhere in the middle of whatever and just say, hey, look, this is what I got a problem with. Like, something about that is not complete. I don't care. You, like you said, you have a job. You work at a plant. I guarantee you just don't start in the middle of something. If you want to troubleshoot something, I don't even work at your job, and I can guarantee you that if you troubleshoot anything at your job, do you just start at the middle of the problem, or do you work from the beginning and work your way through to try to figure out where the problem is?
Yeah, you're gonna work at. Well, you're gonna see where things are at right then, and then you're gonna try to assess it. Like you said, where did it start from? How did this start? So
thank you. So, and then you deal with specifics. Okay, what's messing up? Let me address that thing. You don't go address another thing to address that thing. So that's my problem. Hey, I'm 52 years old. I ain't got time for this talking about all these they, them, they. I don't care about they. Who are you talking about? Name some names, because don't project your issues on me. Just because you got an uncle that's doing some weird stuff to your auntie beating on her, that is not all of black men's problem. Can I get specific? I'm just being honest, because I get tired of people who got messed up cousins in their family. They ain't nothing but a bunch of YNs. Do you just project that on us? That is not my problem because your bloodline messed up, bro. Just because your family got issues, don't put that on me. Just because you ain't never been able to talk to your homeboy and he been an idiot ever since you know him, but that's who you call your friend, that is not my problem. That is not my issue. It might sound like I'm being cold right now, but we as a black community, we don't have time for everybody projecting their hurts. I've never heard you get on your platform. You've never heard me get on my platform and start just going off on people because I got a messed up experience in my life. Just because my father did this don't mean I need to take it on everybody else. Just because my uncle did this, just because my brother or my cousins, my aunts or my nieces or my whatever, that is not black people's problem just because you got issues in your house. How about this? Let's start from the beginning. Clean your house up first.
Yeah, I agree.
Work on your aunt, your cousin, and your auntie and fix that. Then come back and try to fix the black community. I know.
No,
I just went on a rant,
it's all good,
I'm sorry.
because I'm finna do a mini one myself. And we gonna end it. But
all right.
I want to say this. What another thing, just thinking about this, here's one thing that I want to say. I'm talking to my listeners or whoever gets this far in the podcast. I'm not talking to him. He said what he wanted to say. I don't totally agree with it, and it sounds like you don't either. But I don't think a lot of people agree with it, to be honest. But here's why I don't think it's real. For real dudes, for real brothers. I don't think that's real. He said, well, even if you're not that way, but if you got dudes in your circle that's that way, it's your fault for them being that way. That's not real. Yeah, that's what I heard he say. He said, that's not real, because if you're not that way and there's a dude in your circle that's that way, that nigga ain't gonna be in your circle for long. I don't hang with dudes who don't take care of their kids. All my men, all my dudes, all my friends, if they have kids, they take care of them. So I don't know what circle he's talking about, but even when I was a little dude, if you were doing things that I didn't agree with, I wasn't messing with you. So that part of what he's saying don't resonate with me. It doesn't resonate. If you're doing something that your guys don't agree with, men, we not like that. It's gonna be an issue, bruh. It's gonna be an issue. If I heard that you was snitching, you think we just gonna sit around and don't not say nothing? No. If I heard you out here lying, you out here lying, telling folks that what your stuff, my stuff is your stuff, bro. We gonna address that. Don't be lying, dog. Men aren't like that. Women will do that. Women will let stuff fester and not say stuff, but no, men ain't gonna do that. You're not finna be with no group of men and you doing something that they don't agree with and you think you gonna keep doing it. You gonna get your ass whooped. That's what's gonna happen to that. Somebody gonna put hands on you. And and that, or if they're mature, they're just gonna be like, dog, I can't mess with you no more. I can't mess with you. But so when he said that, I was like, man, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that because I don't know dudes that wrote that there ain't no cliques, there ain't no groups, there ain't nobody who roll like that. If you doing now, if it's a group of dudes who all harassing women and they run together, but if you the one dude in the group who every time we go out, you harassing women and you talking stupid to women and you embarrassing us, bruh, you not going no more. You not going no more with us. You not going no more. So what do you think about that before we wrap things up?
Yeah, it's interesting because I heard a little bit of scuttlebutt, maybe from some other post on social media. And again, I didn't hear the whole thing, so
Me
in
either. Me
fairness,
either.
but I heard he said something to the effect of
Right.
the accountability piece. Like, hey, black men should be accountable because there's black men that's, with this bad behavior towards black women, and black men aren't doing anything about it. So we're responsible for that type of behavior. Now, I think it sounds like you're addressing, like he could have said, hey, look, yeah, because he did say it earlier about a group of men being together doing some ill things. And it sounds like the point that you're making, like, no, real men that's together, would have been
Right.
canceled that. Or like you can't hang around me. But I think a lot of people took exception to saying, why am I responsible, especially for black men I don't know? So again, take me and you, right? We're family men, right? We got our lady in our life. We're raising children, and guess what? For the most part, we're doing the right thing in life. We're decent human beings, decent men. I didn't say good men. I didn't say great men. That's for others to judge. But we're decent enough for society standards, right? Now, for men, we don't know who don't move like how you and I move, and we don't even know them. Like, what do you expect of me? What do you expect me to do? You just want me to parade up and down the street all day and start questioning, bro? Hey, stop, brother! Like, hey, how you treating women? Don't create no problems where there aren't none. Like right. I got enough that I'm carrying on my shoulders every day. I'm doing my best to be a productive member of society, raising my kids, loving my wife, trying to be a great participant at work and whatever social clubs I'm a part of. Hey, look, I got a lot that I'm carrying on. Matter of fact, I'm carrying issues that's trying to be dumped on me that I have nothing to deal with. Then here you come, trying to dump another issue on me. And I get what you're saying? Yes, I do. But I can't. I'm not a miracle worker. I cannot make all men conduct themselves in certain manners. Now, maybe what he's saying in fairness is he's probably saying if you are around a group of men, like your example should be one in which is beyond reproach, where people learn from you. And okay, I can understand that, but say that then. Say that. But don't just make it seem like men aren't out here doing their best to be an example and do right. I mean, look, I tell people all the time, I jokingly say this, but there's a little truth in my joke. Hey, there's nothing really about my life that's super sexy. Paying bills, paying taxes, taking care of your family, loving your wife, like, you know what I'm saying, washing my car, keeping my property value up. Like, I don't know what's super sexy about that. So nobody's running up to me, but like, yo, Speak Rock, man, how you paid your taxes, man. Nope. Nobody, that is not super sexy. So to put the burden on me, like I supposed to have had show people, I mean, like my example seems like it sometimes is not good enough. Sometimes, because guess what? That's not moving the needle for people's interest. But yet and still, I'm not harming anybody either. I'm not causing no harm. I'm not causing no trouble. So why should you use your words to speak as if decent black men, like we're not doing enough? And I believe a lot of people took exception to what he said because they like, bro, I'm out here trying to do the best I can do. Like, don't put another man's issues and his problems on me. Like, so now if that brother want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, drink some tea, whatever kind of libation he into, we can do that and we can talk. But if a brother don't want to be bothered with me and everybody's keeping their distance and staying in their silos, in their circles, I am not one just to barge in somebody's personal space and be like, hey, yo, you need to listen to me. Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, so I just think he tried to make a point. He used a lot of bombastic talking points. He used keywords and buzzwords that, let's just be honest, it attracts the attention of certain people. And being a minister, I know how that go. I'm just keep it a buck. I'm not bashing on the Christian community, but I know how charismatic speakers go. You ever been to church and things could be dry for a minute, but if that pastor say a couple of things, guess what? Everybody's all ears. And it happens a lot, especially with public speakers. And I'll say this and I'll end it with this, because I just want people to be mindful about who you listen to on social media. That be me, you, him, or anybody. And I'm going to speak on it. Again, Charleston White, and, resting, in heaven or wherever he is. What was that gentleman name? He really made his
Kevin
home
Samuels.
talking
Kevin
about
Samuels.
women. Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels, if you first look at him, his earlier videos, I'm gonna keep it a buck. He just looked like an accountant. He just looked like a simple-minded dude. He looked like Clark Kent. He was just a regular, average-looking dude. I'm gonna keep it a buck. Kevin Samuels, being an image consultant, that brother went and got a fade, got his beard lined up, got him some better glasses, start wearing tailored suits, turned out the lights in his place. He set the ambiance. He started looking like $1 million. He changed his talking points from giving advice to men and start saying things about women. He caught the attention of so many people. What is that? That's called branding. That's called marketing. And I wasn't a huge fan of Kevin Samuels, all because I had nothing against the brother, but I saw what it was. Because I said, well, if he wasn't calling women linebackers, if he wasn't calling them Big Shirley, if he wasn't saying some of these bombastic things, would his message still get across? And I said to myself, nope. If he wasn't being that, it was almost to a point where it was like vitriol. If it wasn't that rough, would it still get across? I say no, because why am I confident in saying that? Because he was doing the same thing when he was talking about men in his earlier videos, and he got less views. So now I'm not saying what he was saying wasn't altogether true. He mixed in some truth with a lot of aggressive speech and buzzwords, and it attracted people so much for the demographic that he was heavily criticizing. He was the Pied Piper of having them call into the platform just to get done that way.
Yeah. I never understood that.
Oh, I understand it perfectly well.
I understand. I understand
it,
but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do this to yourself? Yeah, I understand it. I understand it, but it's like, I'm just, it's like looking at somebody just get punched in the face. Like, you're gonna get punched in the face, right? But they do it to themselves. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree. And
So my whole point is saying we have to be careful about who we listen to and what they're doing to generate buzz, and is it coming from a sincere place? And some things you got to take for the grain of salt, because I'm pretty sure right now bro probably he probably in his feelings. He probably going off on whoever. He probably
I think he's killing it right now. I think he's killing it right now. I think, I think he just won some type of podcast and he's killing it right now. So I think
absolutely.
But
just because you can be good at something doesn't mean the effects and the intent are sincere and they're honest. Okay, hey, old boy, he killed the podcast game. Shannon Sharp.
Right.
But that don't mean what he was really doing was wholesome. Vlad TV generates views like nobody's business. But that don't mean everything Vlad do is on the up and up. So again, hey, if I'm to put my money with anybody, and I'm just not saying this just because you on here, and you and I are smart enough to know that the thing I like talking about you is it's cool to listen to you with a different point of view. A lot of times I believe our point of views do line up, but I'm okay with listening to you even if you have a different point of view than me. Why is that? Because I truly believe you're sincere in what you're saying and you really mean it for the betterment of people. Now, I'm not gonna lie. If you just decided one day to be like, yo, Rock, I'm just going ham because I'm getting these views up, I ain't mad at you because it ain't no different than what other people are doing. However, as long as, because if you come in like Charleston White, Charleston tells you why he's saying what he's saying.
Yeah.
He don't even mean half of what he said.
And he tells people that. And a lot of us, even me, at first, we didn't know what he was doing. We took offense to it. We didn't know what he was doing. But now, after kind of seeing what he was doing and making content myself, I know what he's doing. I know what he's doing. I know what Stephen A's doing. He does it every day. He will say something that's not even true and know it's not true. He will take a little bit of something that somebody says and make it something else. I'll give you a perfect example. My favorite basketball player, Damian Lillard. He's here in Milwaukee now. He was going through a divorce last year, and he told somebody in the journal sitting over here, the newspaper here, he was like he was unhappy that he would just sit. Hold up.
You got that content in the
Yeah,
background, bro.
he would say that.
You making
He
that
said
content.
that he said that he was unhappy. He would just sit on YouTube and watch boxing all day. He never said he didn't like Milwaukee, but Stephen A. said, "Oh, he's unhappy in Milwaukee. He doesn't want to be there." He made this big thing. He put these words in this man's mouth. Had everybody here in town thinking the man's going through a divorce. Anybody with common sense, he ain't gonna be happy nowhere. He could be sitting in his house that he built and still be unhappy. He's going through a divorce. So we've got it. That's what I want people to understand. I said this a little earlier. Please, and you said it, Speak Rock. Man, protect your algorithm. Watch what you listening to, what you watching, because these people, they just trying to get the bag. They just trying to get the bag. And I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't mind getting the bag either. But I'm not going to say something that I don't believe. I can't do it. And maybe he believes what he's saying. I think he believes what he's saying. And if you do, I salute you, brother. Believe it. And the people who believe it with you, y'all can follow his podcast and watch him and listen to him and think he's great. That's you. And the people that, feel what we saying, hopefully you watching our podcast. So I just want to make it clear, I'm not going to lie. I really didn't take a lot time listening to what he said because it's not something that I would say. It's not something I would say. It's not something what I would say is what I said. You don't have any friends when you have an attractive woman. You don't. And that if you take her somewhere, you better have your back fade because somebody might try to disrespect you and her. It's possible. It's happened. And that men, we don't take rejection great. That's something we have to learn. That's something you have to be mature. You have to learn to be mature and do that. That's just something that you need to have the maturity to know that every woman is not gonna like you like that. You know what I'm saying? And just because a woman's being nice to you, is she just being nice? But it's cool. I like when a woman says hello to me and she, hey, how you doing? Good morning. Good morning. That's it. We don't, like the lady said, like the sister said, a lot of times that's just it. We're both fine with that. So I agree with you. I didn't like the fact that he tried to make it seem like it's all these black men who can't take no for an answer. And we just out here just making women feel like trash and being scared.
Please let me say this one last thing before we get, and I'm gonna make it quick. And I have to say this because you've blessed me to be on your platform to speak. And again, I gotta get my platform back up and get it robust and start saying the things that need to be said. But here's something I personally can't stand. And I said this on a social media post that I made. And I ask anybody to challenge me on this, but and I was being facetious. Let me be clear. I was being, sarcastic when I made this statement. I said black folk love being talked crazy to. And why did I say that? Because way too many times, clergy members, that's pastors, ministers, politicians, you name it. Anytime somebody want to make a point, they always start talking crazy and dirty to black folk. Oh, black folk need to clean up their communities. Black folk, even Joe Biden did it one time before. Yo, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Like, people love talking crazy to us. It was this pastor down in Atlanta from 2819 church. I forget his name. Philip Mitchell something. brother was like, oh yeah, you need to stop cheating on your taxes, and black folk need to start raising your kids better. Like, whenever people want to make some kind of point, they use black folk is the whipping boy. They just put us on the post and they use us as the example. It's like Jim Crow, not Jim Crow. What's the name of the book that was supposedly written during slavery times to teach you how to keep slaves in check?
Yeah.
The Willie Lynch.
Yeah.
The Willie Lynch letters. It's like Willie Lynch all over again from 2025. If you want somebody to agree with you, that's why I said I didn't, for whatever, Officer Tatum or whatever. Again, like, your vitriol is so much against black folk. There are other races of people here in America, and I don't hear you going off on them. You got Japanese mafia that operates in America, but I don't hear you say nothing. You got Cambodian, South American gangs that are running around with machetes, chopping people up in America, but I don't hear you saying nothing about it. But when it comes to black people acting stupid, which is true at times, he runs out of hours that he can talk about
everything
black
he
folk.
makes.
I mean, everything he makes, but you got other races. You got Italian mafia, Irish mob in America, but I don't hear you saying nothing. So all I'm saying is, I get tired of just, to me, that's the automatic red flag. So if Mr. Kyle sees this and he takes exception to it, I'm sorry, brother, take it to heart. You're the only reason you're generating this much buzz is because you were talking about black people. And I'm tired of the low-level argument of, well, I'm black, so this is why I speak on it. Well, if you care about everybody and you care, he understands the only way I'm going to get some buzz is just keep beating on a certain demographic. And let's keep it real. A lot of people have done it, especially radio disc jockeys. Wendy Williams, her protege, Charlemagne. Can we be? So I'm giving everybody this example between ministers, politicians, entertainers. They just jump on. Can you imagine Stephen A. Smith going off on a white athlete religiously,
he
constantly? I guarantee you he won't. I guarantee you won't have a job at ESPN.
He can't do it.
Or they have apologize.
They have. When he did that, it was something between him and a white woman. They made him apologize years ago. Yep, they made him apologize.
Even if he does it, it ain't gonna last for long. Stephen A. will go on with a feud with black athletes until they retire. Stephon Marbury. What's the other gentleman name? He was like the number one.
Kwame Brown.
He played for Washington, played for the Lakers. Kwame Brown. Like, Stephen A. Smith will argue and he'll waffle, try to give you your praises, but he will dog you out with a black athlete. But let him do the same thing with a white athlete. Can you imagine him doing that with Joker?
No, never. It'll never happen. It'll never happen.
So that's all I want to say, man. Thanks for letting me get that off my chest.
It's all good. You make a great point. You make a great point that we beat up. It's Stephen A. Smith, Jason Whitlock, Officer Tatum, Candace Owens. All these people, they make their living disrespecting black people, and
mind you, Candace Owens didn't change her. She didn't change up until she got released from that platform she was on.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Now, ain't nobody safe with Candace now. Candace, she actually coming after white people. She coming after all sorts of folks. I'm like, okay. So why didn't you do that when you was on that other platform with the Jewish guy?
Yeah, because you got your Negro wake up call. You got a wake up call. You know, you got your Negro wake up call. So that's all we're trying to say here. You know what I mean? much respect to both creators. The Grits and Egg podcast. If you having success, love it. Great. To the other podcast, the what's the podcast? The BTTS podcast. That sister and that might be her husband or her co-host. Much respect to them. And hey, we just wanna make it clear that what she said is more of what's real. I think what we determined, what he said was what he did it on purpose. They cut that. It might be more to what he's saying that can make us be, oh, okay. But no, they cut that little piece to get views. That's content. You know what I'm saying?
Content.
He's making content. That's what he's doing. He's making content. There's a difference. So I don't care if you see this, bro. I don't care what you say. We understand you're making content. So what you saying is all good, but we know what you're doing. Most people don't understand what's going on. But hey, if you're having success at it and you can live with what you're doing, keep on, man. I've heard.
Man, I gotta say this. Because one thing that I don't like when people try to do the clapbacks either. So when people say something to them, now all of a sudden they want to come out the treasure trove. They want to come out. Well, I'm not gonna say that, but they want to, open up the vault and be like, you don't know what I do. Yeah, I don't know what you do because I don't know you.
Right.
I know what you said. So if you that bombastic in bashing black folk and having these opinions, you can be just as animated in talking about the good that you do. Because guess what? Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with talking about the good that you do. So if you going to community centers and you working with kids, speak on it then, brother. If you got some kind of nonprofit set up, some LLC or whatever, and you working with people and you're giving instruction, you're giving life advice, speak on it then. Don't try to speak on it now, once you've been called out or somebody has an opposite viewpoint than what you saying. And so I know what people will say, well, all things ain't to be spoken on. Man, miss me with that. Stop, bro. It's a lot going on in the world that just turn on the news and you will hear a lot of bad stuff. But this is what I always say about the news, though. Because people say to me, they be like, I don't watch the news because it ain't nothing but bad news. I say, but that's because you ain't watch it long enough. Watch the news. There's good news in there too. Just because you got overwhelmed with the bad that you heard, there's a lot of good news in there. There's a lot of good segments. It wouldn't be the news if they didn't report it all. So all I'm saying to anybody who says things on the internet, then you take exception to what is said back to you, then you want to come back with, well, y'all don't know what I do. And this is what I got going on, but y'all wouldn't know that. No, bro. You should have led off with that. You should have encouraged people with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you can speak on the negative, you sure can speak on the positive that you do with that same type of energy. Maybe everybody can't digest that. I can. I would listen to you, Grits and Egg, or whoever, if you speaking on it all across the board. But one thing I'm not going to settle for, I'm not going to just hear you talk beat down on my people. And you ain't talking about what you're doing for my people. We all got a camera. We all got a microphone. Hey, I'm sorry. My nieces and nephews got an iPhone. I mean, I'm not impressed. What I'm impressed with, what are we doing to make this world better? So just saying, as the Raising Carter podcast talk about financial literacy, manhood, giving great advice or rear your children, how to raise a family. So I'm just saying, if we're going to put information out there, if we're going to big up platforms, it just can't be because of shock value and being a shock jock and denigrating and downgrading people. It needs to be the standard is the Raising Carter podcast. So, and I mean that with everything, bro. I ain't saying that just because you here.
I appreciate that,
truth.
brother.